Good morning, everyone, and thank you for joining us today on the weekly availability with head coach, UTSA head coach Austin Claunch. The Roadrunners are coming off a double road week for the first time in the season and finished everything off with a hard-fought team victory at Denver, 84-79. The Roadrunners have Southwestern Christian out of Oklahoma coming to the Convocation Center for a midday education game on Tuesday. And then next week, we'll head out to take on a pair of mid-majors out at the Jacksonville Classic in Jacksonville, Florida. Coach Claunch, can you go ahead and get us started about what you saw from the Roadrunners last week, especially on Saturday, and then what we're looking for in the week ahead?
Yeah, four halves of basketball. The first one, I guess, just starting from last Wednesday in San Marcos. The first one was the worst one that we played out of the four. And I don't ever like to say I think we have a tough team. So to say we got out toughed, I think that really starts with me because I think we have guys that will be physical and rebound and do things that equate to winning. And the fact that we weren't ready to do that, I think ultimately I have to go back and look at our preparation, figure out why we weren't ready to do that. You can't give a good team a 17-point lead on the road. Now, the second half, obviously we battled, got it back to 4 points a couple of times, and we're right there in the balance. It was great to see that fight, figured some things out, not just X's and O's, but I think personnel. Guys really rallied and stepped up as leaders, and that obviously carried over to Saturday. First half in Denver might have been the best best half we've played this season. And then in the second half on the road, I mean, a team's going to make a run at home, especially in a home opener. They were coming off a huge win on the road themselves. And so to stay the course, stay composed, have the composure that we did down the stretch, with playing a lot of not just new guys here, but new guys in college basketball, young guys playing in new roles. That's a huge win for us. I think we didn't get a road win last year until December. For us to get one this early in November, I think certainly is going to give us a lot of confidence as we move forward playing away from the Convo. So that was a huge win. Disappointed, obviously to not go to not come back from San Marcos with a win, but I thought we battled and figured some things out, and then obviously a huge win Saturday, and we look forward this week. Just one game. We got to be really focused. We got to lock in on Southwestern Christian today in practice and understand what we need to do to win.
Go ahead and get it started, Jerry.
Yeah, Coach, good morning. Thanks for joining us. Wanted to check with you, just getting back to what you were talking about a minute ago about how, you guys kind of figured it out a little bit at halftime of the Texas State game, got it going in the second half up in San Marcos, and then played really well up in Denver. I wanted to ask you just to get a little bit more in detail on that. I noticed y'all's just up from the offensive standpoint, y'all were 28% from the field against SIU, 39% from the field against Texas State, and then 51% against Denver. And I just wanted to get in your mind what happened with the development of your offense over those three games. So how did you get from 28% in that SIUE game to 51% against Denver?
Well, I think, starting with myself, just more clarity in helping our guys prepare for the type of defense you're going to play against, whether that's a really aggressive one or one that's going to sit back. We've got to have more clarity going into a game of just sort of the type of defense you're going to play against. And then within that, I thought Saturday we were much better in our early offense. And the second half against Texas State as well. Early offense, getting stops, running, getting to something quick. And then on Saturday, what I thought we did a great job of is when we didn't get something quick, executing a little bit later in the possession. Whether that's a set or just naturally flowing into a 5-out ball screen or a ghost or whatever the case may be. I just thought we had much better organization throughout the 30 seconds of our possession. So we scored early, we scored late. We got to the free throw line, and then obviously we shot it really well from three. So again, I thought just a great effort top to bottom from our staff and our players to just get everybody organized and on the same page.
Go ahead, Logan.
Coach, can you talk a little bit about the luxury of having such a versatile roster? You talk about that game against Denver. You have Bo coming off the bench, scoring 23 points, 12 rebounds. Jameer really stepped up. Can you talk about the versatility of your team?
Yeah, it's still early on in the year, and you're figuring out what your guys can do, and now it's about putting all those pieces together at the right time, and just making everything as cohesive as possible. I thought Bob just really did a great job. He's an interesting player in the fact that he's maybe a bit. You can play him as a bigger guard. You can play him as an undersized front court player, which is what we've been looking at doing. And we were sort of able to just throw it to him and use him as a point forward, drive it, wheel post, and create offense from there. And then our guards, Jameer, Austin, Dorian, Pierce came in that first half, gave us a huge boost. Brent Moss with a big three in the second half. I thought Brent Moss in the second half at Texas State kind of kick-started his season and our night, out there at San Marcos. And, Saturday wasn't as much, his opportunity, but when he came in, he made the most of it. He makes that big three with 3 minutes left to put us back up 5. Thought our guards just played with a ton of confidence, but also with the selflessness, to be aggressive, but get off it and get it to the next guy when it wasn't their shot. And I just thought that unselfishness sort of propelled us for 40 minutes.
Go ahead, Jerry.
Coach, just wanted to ask a little bit more about Bob Njai and just what you've seen in his development since he arrived on campus.
Yeah, Bob, he reminds me of a guy that we had at Nicholls State who his sophomore year just exploded sort of onto the scene, and it was one of the Bob is so versatile in both sides of the ball. He can defensively, he can guard 1 through 5. He's a great shot blocker. Offensively, his shot is still developing, but he's got such creativity at the rim. He drives it hard and gets fouled. He's a great passer. His basketball IQ is really high. He's somebody that in huddles, is engaged, is asking questions and giving suggestions. I want that. I want guys that, I tell our guys all the time, they're the ones out there, So in the huddle, there needs to be some dialogue about, hey, what I'm seeing, what he's seeing, and then we can come together and figure out, ultimately what needs to get done. I thought, just throughout the course of Texas State and Denver, he didn't just play well from a scoring or rebounding standpoint. Thought he really even grew as a leader in those 2 moments, and that's going to be big for his overall development moving forward.
Back to you, Jerry.
Hey, Coach, I just also wanted to transition into a question about you've got 4 guys from Ohio on your team. Could you kind of talk a little bit about how that developed? I know you recruited Mo out of the portal last year. Did you just talk about the development of the UTSA Ohio connection?
Yeah. It wasn't really something we focused on. Kind of just happened naturally. Obviously recruiting Mo, and of course, at that time, learning more about Bob. And Bob initially came as a walk-on, and we learned very early that Bob was going to be able to help us even as a freshman. And so Mo and Bob, obviously, that sort of happened just through recruiting Mo out of the portal. And then this past spring and summer, we started recruiting Brent back in January out of junior college. Again, didn't know until we started recruiting him that he was from Lima. And then, sure enough, when we started recruiting Jameer, I kind of looked at it and I called Brent. I said, "Hey man, did you play with this guy?" And so yeah, it is kind of funny. And then obviously Coach Bowman, one of our assistant coaches, is from Ohio as well. So we've seemed to develop some success with guys from Ohio. There's no question about it.
Yeah, just crazy. There's so much potential with, particularly those Mo, you're going to have Mo for this year, I guess, but those other guys, you're good. You got a future with that group, right?
Yeah, obviously that's the goal, and of course, Mo and Bob have chemistry from being with each other their whole life. Brent and Jameer, they actually didn't play together in high school, but of course from the same place, and you sort of overlapped a little bit, but knew each other, had a relationship, and yeah, Ohio's got great basketball, really good high school basketball, great coaches. It's a proud basketball state, so lot of tough kids up there, but. Regardless whether you're from Ohio, Texas, California, New York, Florida, we want to go out there and find guys that fit our culture and our style of play. And certainly, I think we did it with those 4 guys.
Jameer told me a couple of weeks back that he and Mo played AAU ball. I think maybe one summer together, and he kind of remembers Bob as the little brother on the side. I think that was what his comment was when we were talking before the season. He didn't look like the little brother the other night. The little brother kind of took over the other night in Denver, right?
Yeah, he's growing up. He's growing up. He's kind of developing, I think, his own offensive game. I think he's always been a great rebounder. Again, his basketball IQ has always allowed him to impact the game when he's out there. But now he's starting, to kind of show that confidence and that development as an offensive player. And the sky's the limit for him. I mean, he's athletic. He's 6'6". Can switch and guard every position. We need him to keep growing as a leader. He's I tell him, you're either a freshman or you're an old guy, and he's an old guy, and so we need him to continue to be a voice, for our team and grow in that space, and he's doing a terrific job.
Just one last thing. I'm sorry, Logan. I just want to ask one last thing. Who was the fellow at Nicholls State that you said that Bob kind of reminds you of the player he had at Nicholls? That
we had a guy named Abdul Atishe. He's actually on a 2-way now, I believe, or he's with the Cavs, or he's with Cavs organization now. He was a very similar position, and was a big part of sort of our year 2 success we had was his sophomore year as well, and just took a huge jump that a lot of people didn't see coming, and I could see similar success for Bob, no doubt about it.
Thank you, Coach.
Go ahead, Logan.
Coach, kind of shifting to the game on Tuesday, Southwestern Christian, they're 0-2 in their last 2. They're led primarily by Michael Woolridge and Jacoby Williams, who averaged 15 points per game and 13 points per game. What's sort of the game plan headed into the game as far as containing those 2 players?
Yeah, listen, I mean, they can shoot it, and they're a confident bunch. They went to Incarnate Word last week or a couple weeks ago. Don't remember the exact date, but played them really tough. The first half. I mean, that game's in the balance all up until Incarnate Word sort of pulled away there and played really well the last 12 minutes and pulled away. But they're not going to come in here intimidated or worried about Division I, Division 5. None of that matters. They're going to be ready to go. We've got to have a sound plan defensively. We guarded really well in the first half against Denver. Second half got away from us, and so we've got to obviously break the film down today and with our guys, and understand where we were really good, and where we need to be better tomorrow morning.
What are some of the things that you think are key to? I know you always say we had a good first half, we had a good second half. So what are some of the keys to producing a full game of play that you are satisfied with?
I think Saturday overall, it's hard when you play another good team. It's hard to dominate a team for 40 straight minutes. I think just attention to detail defensively. If you go back and you see that game number 20 for Denver, you got really hot and started to expose what we were doing defensively a little bit. When it's time to throw a curveball, throw a changeup, that stuff's got to be a little bit tighter, so that we have 1 or 2 things we can go to if something starts to get hit up a little bit. If we have just the ability to shift and make adjustments mid game. I thought I thought we did that against Texas State. You can't give a team a 17-point lead. And then against Denver, we did it again, and I thought, again, when you're playing on the road, that it's tougher. You've got to be, mentally locked in and focused. I think that's the biggest thing, for our guys. We've got to maintain a focus level. And we did that for 40 minutes on Saturday. They made a run, but you've got to expect that a little bit. And so we're heading in the right direction. Saturday was probably our best 40 minutes in totality. And now we got to build on that with a big few weeks coming up.
Are there any concerns you have about the team headed into the game?
Nope. I think we're starting to come into our own offensively. We're defensively we're still moving around and figuring out some different things. But no concern because we're relatively healthy. We're obviously the biggest thing would be just we're dealing with Pierce and his shoulder kind of constantly, and that'll be a battle throughout the season. He won't play tomorrow. Obviously need to get him to 100% before we just put him back out there. But we have a great group. We have a group that wants to get better and is pretty healthy. And so when you have that in your locker room, that gives you confidence as a head coach, and we're just going to keep building.
And then lastly, I just want to ask, Michael announced the news that Nasir Price signed with UTSA, and I just wanted to kind of get your initial thoughts.
Yeah, huge get, and Nas. The thing that when you're a coach and you sign guys, the thing that really excites you is how excited they are. And Nas was somebody we hit it off from day one in our very first conversation. And from an X's and O's, a guy that can really score it, a guy that competes defensively, but most importantly, a guy that fits our values, fits our culture, and really wants to be here. Really excited. I kind of messed with him. He was in a game. He drove up himself and was at that game last week. I said, hey man, I should have just gotten you a jersey and gotten you out there. But no, we're really excited about Nas and he's we feel. I mean, if you look, we're playing our high school guys. I know it's a day and age where the portal gets a lot of pub. We're trying to build something with the young guys here that want to be at UTSA. And a mix. I think it's a mix. Portal, high school, junior college. But wherever you come from, we want you to want to be here and be part of our program. And Nas fits that to a T.
Thank you, Coach.
Any other questions for Coach Claunch? All right. Well, thank you again, everybody, for joining us. And thank you, Coach Claunch. Got to say it. Happy birthday.
Thank you. I'm getting old, man. I'm getting old. So it's been, I'm getting old. We had some cake last night, and now it's back to kind of enjoying it here till about 12 o'clock, and then I gotta get back to work. We have a big one tomorrow. So, but I appreciate it. Hopefully, we can get a birthday win tomorrow.
All right, we can expect to not be having this weekly availability next week because the Roadrunners will be in Jacksonville preparing for a game. So we will circle back after Thanksgiving on this press conference. And thank you again, everybody. And we'll see you in a couple weeks.
Thanks, guys. Birds up.